The Green Zones Development Support Project aims to protect and restore the natural forest in the gazetted forest reserves of Kenya, the reserves that hold the water towers of the country. The project aims to stabilize the climate and rainfall patterns and arrest environmental and biodiversity destruction in the forest and adjacent areas. It is implemented by two state corporations, NYAYO Tea Zones Development Corporation and Kenya Forestry Service, with funding and support from the Africa Development Bank and the Government of Kenya. Started in 2006, the project is anchored on the Africa Development Bank's agriculture and rural development policy, which supports natural resource management and environmental protection. The Natural Forest Conservation Project, implemented by KFS, was designed to turn forest-adjacent communities into educated and informed guardians of forests. Under the Plantation Establishment and Livelihoods Improvement Scheme, popularly known as PELIS, a partnership of the Community Forest Associations and Forest Custodians KFS was formed. The project has been a major success in afforestation efforts.
This is a concept where areas that are degraded or that have been harvested of trees are given out to the farmers, and the farmers they cultivate their own crops, and at the same time they assist in raising the seedlings, which we purchase as a project, and now they plant in those plots where they are planting their crops, cash crops. They tend for the cash crops as well as for the trees. And within a short time, perhaps 3 or 4 years, when the trees canopy closes, they are able to reallocate to new areas. So it's a win-win situation for both the communities and Kenya Forest Service. And the winner is the environment, because we get very well conserved areas.
PELIS is responsible for turning previous destroyers of forests into astute forest custodians. It is responsible for the successful regeneration and reforestation of thousands of hectares of forest land. Participatory forest management approach has contributed to protection and management of 48,000 hectares of natural forests. The project manager explains how this was achieved.
We have introduced agroforestry practices within the farms in different configurations, to the tune of 8,600 hectares. So we've been able to work all around within the forest and outside, and engage the communities in terms of planting. So to me, that's very key. The other thing is, in order to rehabilitate this, we've used approximately 30 million seedlings. These 30 million seedlings have been sourced from the communities.
Organizing community members into Community Forest Association CFAs has enabled community-wide participation in conservation. The associations provide the Green Zone project with a forum for community engagement, through which they benefit from the income-generating activities organized by the project. In Mount Kenya Conservation Area, youth groups have benefited from farming and other group-based income-generating projects.
Some of them have been able to ensure that their children go to school. Some of them have transformed, they are now living in better houses. Some of them have bought even lorries. We have 3 or 4 people who actually bought lorries. And now they move from being now dependent on forestry, because prior to that, they used to think that the only livelihood they can is to go in, remove timber, either remove timber illegally and make money. But now they are making money and at the same time ensuring that the forest is well conserved.
The project supported the establishment of community-owned tree nurseries, from which communities gain incomes from seedling sales. The Kenya Forestry Service sources its seedlings from these nurseries, a strategy that has enhanced community ownership of the conservation efforts.
Mwaka uliopita tuliweza kuuza miche ya kiasi ya 900,000, na uuzaji huu unajumuisha ile ya group na ya members. Kwa hivyo tukiangalia ile data tuliweza collect kwa vile kulingana na yale mafanikio members wameweza kufanikiwa, tunaweza kuwa ilikuwa imefika 1.2.
The project has strategically used schools as entry points into communities, with clear benefits being demonstrated to the school populations as well as the surrounding communities. This school in the Rift Valley is a case study in the implementation of school-based conservation programming.
Everybody has a tree here. All the staff, all the children, the Board of Governors, the PTA. We actually like planting trees because it's actually the main thing here. We use it for firewood, we use it for fencing, we use it, it's like you must have a tree. So that's how we started our friendship with Green Zones.
The project targets a 5-kilometer radius from gazetted forest areas into settled areas, including schools and individual firms. The impact has been phenomenal, ensuring unprecedented success in national forest cover.
The program has helped in planting, over the last 6 years since its inception, in planting about 30 million tree seedlings. That in itself equates to about 30,000 hectares of additional new forests. This, coupled with some endeavors we are doing in conserving the already existing forest, in planting in our degraded catchment areas, and also in our river lines. I think in total, I must admit that as of now, we can conclusively say that this country is about 7% forestry cover.
Facilitation of community forest patrols and construction of forest watchtowers have enhanced community participation and ownership of the conservation program. Through the management of NYAYO Tea Zones Development Corporation, the Green Zones Development Support Project implements the Buffer Belt Watershed Management Program, which has been consolidating 19,000 hectares of tea buffer belts along the periphery of the gazetted forests. The buffer belts have served as a source of employment to thousands of rural workers, demonstrating tangible gains from conservation. With the successful production of tea from buffer belts, the corporation has graduated conservation tea production into tea manufacturing with the establishment of Kipchabo Tea Factory in the North Rift Valley. The factory is a life changer in the community, offering direct employment to hundreds of farmers living in the conservation area.
The consolidated tea belts have also protected habitats and ecosystems by stopping encroachment and also helped in conservation of environmentally sensitive areas. The project has supported establishment of community tree nurseries and purchases seeds from these nurseries as a way of engaging communities in conservation activities. A total of 1.7 million employment opportunities have been created. This actually translates to about $9 million per year, paid as cash wages to support activities such as weeding, tea plucking, nursery maintenance, pruning, and land preparation, amongst others.
Fruit orchard projects have been established to provide soil cover and serve as a source of income for the community. Establishment of community tree nurseries for commercial and environmental conservation promotion have been climate-smart choices. Other projects are supported on the strength of their contribution to conservation, as the project manager explains.
We strategically design projects that are promoting conservation efforts. Communities close to gazetted forest, communities within 5 to 10 kilometers, those are communities that we were targeting, because those are the communities who, more often than not, they are the ones who will encroach the forest, they are bordering the forest, or they will know who is entering the forest and destroying the forest and coming out of the forest.
Providing alternative sources of income to deter communities from indiscriminate exploitation of forest resources is a key strategy employed by the project. Promotion of beekeeping and honey processing projects is a strategy that ensures that the community is sensitized on the need for forest conservation, as forests serve as the reservoir and source of food for the bees. Fish farming has proved to be an ingenious way of sensitizing communities on water conservation, as the projects exploit water sourced from the watershed catchments. This project in Nyeri County has provided an alternative source of income to village women who would otherwise be engaged in firewood sales sourced from forest trees. Promotion of green energy in schools and homes provides an alternative energy source that has reduced the direct cutting down of trees for wood fuel purposes. The project has introduced the use of biogas in forest-adjacent communities that have livestock to generate the energy. Supporting the construction and use of energy-saving stoves in the homes of forest-adjacent communities has drastically reduced the cutting down of trees in the conservation areas. Closely related is the promotion of projects that use solar energy for cooking purposes that the program has been promoting, particularly with women groups. Brick-making projects have provided the community with an alternative source income generation while reducing the number of forest trees cut down for purposes of accessing building materials from the community forests. This stinging nettle project is a climate-smart approach in exploiting available forest resources. Conservation groups benefit from direct income made from processing the stinging nettle plant abundant in the forest. Value addition has increased the incomes of farmers while giving them reason to conserve the forest resource.
We realized that just like any other farmer, they will produce. We'll have people coming to buy their produce at a throwaway price, but when they add value, that means that translates to more money going to their pockets.
This wool processing project was supported to produce carpets and other household wool products. This sericulture project has opened a new line of income for the youth in this community through the sale of high-quality silk garments. As an employment creation strategy, the program has supported projects that specifically target the youth. This trout farming project on the edge of Mount Kenya Forest is youth-centric. Through the project, the youth have discovered a reason to conserve the water resource from which they are gainfully employed, making handsome profits.
We started with only 3 pods. Right now we have 11 pods. We started with a small hatchery that could only hold 50,000 figurines. Right now we have a bigger hatchery that can hold up to 500,000 figurines per go per season. We have also been able to import eggs from the US, the figurines that we've seen in the hatchery. Right now we have 150,000 figurines in the hatchery. Yeah, that costed us around 450,000. So we are targeting around 9 million by the end of the year, and we are hoping that by the end of the year, each member will get 100,000.
The implementers of the Green Zone Support Program attribute the success in both conservation and community empowerment to strict adherence to participatory management approach.
There is a relationship between what they are doing and conservation of forests. For instance, the people who are doing beekeeping and they are doing it within the forest, they know if there are no trees, how will they do their beekeeping? The people who are in fish farming, if there is no water within the catchment, how will they continue with their project?
The models that we used in terms of engaging the communities and going through a participatory journey together where there is no issue of commanding, but we negotiate and agree on the course of action. That one has really been a positive thing and has contributed to us achieving goals, even surpassing our targets.